Ever since Nintendo came out with the Game Boy in 1989, they've always managed to dominate the handheld market most of the time. And ever since their last handheld device, the Nintendo Switch, there's just been a crap ton of third-party companies and some first-party companies who just wanted to throw their hats into the ring. With third parties, you have your Amber Nicks, your Ein Odins, your Miu Minis, and your Retroid Pockets. And with these first-party companies, you have people like Valve with the Steam Deck, or Logitech with the G Cloud, or more recently, Razer with the Edge. All of these devices that I've just listed, I've already watched reviews on and heard great things about them doing great portable emulation and are great for cloud streaming on Xbox Game Pass. But what if I told you that you don't need any of those devices? What if I told you that you already had all of that in one device? Now, I've thought about buying one of these portable emulation devices before, but that was until I realized that I'm a idiot. I pretty much had everything I want in a portable device in my pocket this whole time. This is a Moto G 2022. I got it when I was able to trade in my old phone for this one. Now, this phone is already a pretty powerful device, but I'm letting you know that you don't need a very powerful Android phone for stuff like cloud streaming and cloud gaming through Xbox Game Pass. As long as you have a decent enough phone and a decent enough internet connection, you're already set for that. Now, emulation, however, yeah, depending on how powerful your phone is going to depend on what systems you can actually emulate. Now, before I go further into this, I would like to let any Apple users, any iPhone users out there know that most of the stuff I'm going to be discussing in this video is mainly exclusive to Android. So if you are an iPhone user, you may be better off just buying one of these portable emulation devices, or the other stuff I listed earlier like the Steam Deck. But if you already are an Android user, then you're basically set. If you don't give a shit about touch controls. This is the Razer Kishi V2. This is basically a phone controller that you can hook up to your phone through the charging port. This makes playing games here amazing. The buttons are satisfyingly clicky, as well as the D-pad, and the control sticks are exactly like Joy-Con and feel good. I know what you're thinking. Is this gonna have Joy-Con drift? I don't know, I've only had the thing for a few months. It takes time for that to develop. It hasn't drifted yet, if that helps. Now, while this controller is great, I do have to let you know that it is $100. But to be fair, you don't really need this, again, if you don't care about touch controls. It doesn't even have to be this thing anyway, it can be something even cheaper than this. The Kishi is basically just a more premium of its kind, I suppose. It even has this little charging port right here that you can use to charge your phone while you're playing with it. Now, on to what you can play. The first thing I want to talk about is cloud gaming through Xbox Game Pass. And like I said before, you don't need a great internet connection to make the games run well. Just like I don't. And honestly, I've been having a great time with it. There's almost never any input delay. It's like I'm playing on an actual Xbox, and you can get a lot with Game Pass, as it's a great option if you're on a budget and can't afford to buy a whole bunch of $60 games for your system. Next is emulation. Pretty much one of the main things I use this for. Now again, what systems you'll be able to emulate will depend on how powerful your phone is. For example, the phone I had before this was known as the LG K51. And that could not emulate N64 games for shit. On this phone, I have a collection of NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Genesis, Game Gear, N64, Dreamcast, PSP, and even GameCube. Let's do it! If I can put the footage in here along with the footage on here. Block all major roads and capture the suspect. And show you guys that it runs well if the camera's not doing it justice. Now, pretty much all but one of these systems runs pretty much flawlessly on this device. It's mainly GameCube that seems to have a few issues. Some games just have a few stutters every now and then, while some can chug quite a bit. This isn't a deal breaker for me though. It's still a lot of systems I can play all on just one device. Lastly, I want to talk about using this when playing mobile games. Now, I've only tried two so far really. One of them was Real Racing 3 and Call of Duty Mobile. I'm just going to get this out the way. Real Racing is exactly what you may think it is. It's just plain racing and that's about it. But playing COD Mobile on this thing feels awesome. Now, COD Mobile, while it does actually have native controller support, it does not support the Razer Kishi regularly. To use it, you have to go into the Nexus app enable virtual controller, and then turn it on for COD Mobile. After that, you'll have to open the game through Nexus and then map your controls however you wish to. So you do have to do a bit of messing around in there, but once you get it done, it feels amazing to play the game like this. I will say at the time of this video that it is in beta, so there are going to be a few hiccups every now and then, where your guy may just stop moving for a sec. At least that's all I've experienced. I love this setup, but I think that's mainly because I already had it in the first place, and at the end of the day, I only really need to spend $100 on the Razer Kishi. If you're an iPhone user and you want to do stuff like emulation or cloud streaming, you'd have to buy a whole new phone just to do it. Or maybe the Razer Edge I mentioned earlier, but that's $400 and you could buy a cheaper Android phone that's just as powerful. So for iPhone users, you may be better off just buying one of those portable emulation devices, some of which will only cost you $100. I can't guarantee the emulation is going to be just as good as just simply on your phone, but at least you're not spending as much money. So what do you think about all this, about turning your Android phone into an all-in-one portable gaming device? Does it interest you? Does it sound dumb to you? Does it make you want to switch from iPhone to Android, which I don't recommend now, unless you have the money for it. I'll have a link down below in the description for the Razer Kishi if you plan on buying that at least. Both links for the Android and the iPhone version because they look exactly the same, and I don't want you to accidentally get the wrong one. They look identical. And with that, I will see you all next time.